Om Sadashiva Samarambam Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Param Ishvaro Guratmeti Murti Beda Vibhagine Vyomabda Vyapta Dehaya Dakshinamurtaye Namaha Tava Vedanta Siddhanta Gocharam Tamagocharam Govindam Paramanandam Satguru Pranatoshmaham Om Shanti 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 Om Namaste. Welcome. Welcome to our class. Mark did not check out, and that's good news. I misread his message yesterday. One should uplift oneself by oneself. One should not lower oneself by oneself, for the self alone is the friend of oneself, and the self alone may be the enemy of oneself. So that was the last verse, and it's the verse that allows Krishna, or it's the starting point from where Krishna starts talking about the second spiritual effort in regards to the sadhanas of preparation for self-knowledge. The first one is just observance of Dharma, of course, and understanding the relationship with the Lord and its laws and principles. And then the second one, he says, is self-effort. We need to be able to develop a positive attitude in regards to any difficulties we have in life, and self-recognition, self-knowledge, and certainty of Aham Brahmasmi. It's not something very easy for most, and we should never give up. And Swami Paramarthananda goes into the details of the meaning of this verse, because we have only one mind, and the mind goes through a lot of activities during the day. We need to take care of the overall condition of our mind, because when we have time in which we are not engaged with transactions in the world, we need to have a contemplative mind in a certain condition that allows it to do either the Upasana or the Nididhyasana, which is the topic of this chapter 6. So if the mind is all like that, it becomes our enemy rather than our friend. It reminds me of U.G. Krishnamurti. There was a time that I got involved with his words and his books, and one of them was, the mind is your enemy. Have you got in contact with U.G. Krishnamurti? Yeah. And so the mind is your enemy. Yes, the mind, in most cases, is everyone's enemy, because the mind is under the spell of ignorance. The mind needs to be controlled, meaning to say master, discipline, educate, so that the mind may develop the vision, or the Upanishadic non-dual vision, which allows the person to see itself from awareness as awareness, and the world as a mithya apparent world, that does not really affect us. So this mind, it's not necessarily our enemy, but in most cases, with lots of garbage and ignorance, self-limiting notions, as Ramji used to present, self-insulting notions. So those are all parts of the general disciplines, beginning from Karma Yoga, and now he's emphasizing self-discipline. And that took us to the last paragraph, the one that Lin was, so the whole discussion we have seen is there free will? And there is huge discussions now in regards to that. There's, no, we are powerless. We have no control at all over our destiny. Therefore, it's better we do nothing because it doesn't matter. I cannot really exercise my free will because I try to choose things. I say, no, I want to get this done. I want to accomplish this and that, and I fail. So it means to say that my assessment and decisions and actions do not guarantee the desired results. And then it means I don't have any power, you know? So this is one extreme. The other extreme is I have all the power, and then we have the situation in which the ego becomes arrogant. As I'm speaking here, do you see my image? Okay. Okay, so we have seen that. Similarly, our future is neither totally controlled by destiny, nor totally controlled by my decisions. I can't really decide alone because I'm one among many other factors, okay? Bring about the resultant, which is my life circumstance, my life situation. My free will has just a contributory role. We see the teachings of Vedanta. And this gives Jivatma a great responsibility and empowers the Jivatma to really take, let's say, having an attitude of taking responsibility rather than taking charge of my life. Taking charge is more like taking control. Taking responsibilities and the understanding that my actions, my assessment, my decisions, my thoughts, my words, and my actions, they have a contributory role in bringing about the desired outcome projected by me. Therefore, I need to hold that understanding and take responsibility for my life, or take charge of my life, not to shrink in a corner and say, oh, there's nothing I can do. That is our goal. And that's why we say that human beings are the only animals with purushata. Purushata have human goals, woman's desires to accomplish or gain things. So the other creatures, they do not seem to have, even though I'm just like, I'm going to share a little piece of my problems dealing with nature and how intelligent these creatures are. I have been lately, some people, they put fire around, and my land became infested with so much ants that I have a hard time to make the small sprouts grow. You understand? They come and they eat it. They begin eating even a mandioca, which was something that they were not eating in the past. So what I did, I made a large area with a lot of space of seeds that I plant. I dug a channel around. I put a plastic and I put the water. I say, now I got them. Not real. They are clever than me because their mind is Ishwara's mind. It is Ishwara's intelligence. This day, today, this morning, 1 hour ago, we go there, we discover they came from on the ground, digging tunnels and going there. And when we see they are all happy traveling around, eating our vegetable, the leaves of the little plants. They went from underneath the channel. And when we see those, those craters like that, where they come, you say, I was afraid they were going to do that. But that goes for the intelligence of Ishwara. So, do ants have Purushata? Maybe they do have, but it cannot be attributed to them. because they are not self-conscious. It's the intelligence of each one. I know this ant is my people, and they need to eat. Who dares you? You know, how do you dare to prevent them from eat from your plants? You know, so they have the intelligence to go on their knees and come out on the other side. This is Shwara's Purushartha, let's say. And Arjuna, I expect you to choose your future, to make decisions, take responsibility for your future. Responsibility is the best thing. And once you believe in free will and you have decided to choose your future, to work for your future, I'm ready to help you. So there are many passages in several different religious structures that say, so do your part and I will help you. No? Lord can help only those who help themselves. We need to put forth the necessary effort. A guru can help those students who believe in themselves and believe in the scriptures and believe in the guru. Otherwise, the students will sympathize with G. Swami and will say, Swami, he's trying to improve me. He does not know. He will say, Swami is doing the job for me. He's trying to improve me. He's going to give me enlightenment. If it's my destiny, I will get moksha. I have faith in my guru. I have faith in the scriptures. I have faith in Ishvara, but I don't have faith in myself. We have to have faith in ourselves to begin with. That's why Vivekananda says a definite ashika one is one who believes in himself or herself. Faith in God is the next stage. Faith in Guru is next stage. Faith in the scriptures is the next stage, but it must all begin with having faith in myself. In what sense? I can put forth the best possible effort, and I know that sooner or later I will get results. Therefore, Arjuna, take charge of your life. Do your Swadharma. Fight this war to reestablish Dharma. Once you have decided to take charge of your life, you need to do what? So how am I going to take, this is a very good conversation here. How are you gonna go about taking care of your, taking responsibility and charge and redirecting your life, or, you have to discipline your instruments. You have to purify your instruments. Yeah? You have to tune your instruments to be able to have the discrimination between Dharma and the Dharma, not to get in conflict and confusion. Once you decide to take responsibility for your life, you have to begin by tuning your instruments. What are the instruments of Jivatma? The body-mind complex, the instrument of action, experience, and knowledge. Yeah? So all the different functions of our body-mind complex needs to be purified, and not only purified, integrated. It's an expression that Swamiji used very often, integrated. So your emotional center, your mental center, your intellectual center, your memory center, your ego center, everything has to go through a phase of refinement, purification, being properly tuned, okay, improved. A mind which is capable of having unhealthy emotions most of the time will be your greatest enemy. Mind is the same. You have got a rational intellect as well. It's a wonderful instrument to establish goals. But you can establish wrong goals due to lack of viveka, lack of discrimination. You can choose things that are going to destroy you spiritually. So how are we going to go about preparing this body-mind complex? No? So you have to purify and refine it. And then Swami Paramarthananda brings about a nice analogy. He says, any instrument, and we are talking about a very complex instrument, which is the body, mind, sense, intellect complex. He said that any instrument, you need a exterior factor to tune it. Any instrument, you need something to tune it, be a person or another instrument that, with artificial intelligence can tune anything. So you need an external factor, but how are you going to tune this instrument, body, mind, sense, intellect complex, And the answer is in the verse, or the next verse, or the previous verse. Now this verse, I believe, or the verse that's coming. It's, you don't have anything external to tune your instruments. The mind has to tune itself by itself. The intellect has to tune itself by itself. The sense organs have to tune itself, not by themselves, because they are not they don't have the intelligence with the ability to make such assessments and tunings. The sense organs, they are different from mind and intellect. So when we say that mind is the complex subtle body. So basically, all tuning is done by the intellect. The intellect is going to be tuning itself on all those different functions of the Jiva Ātma, or the subtle body. Howsoever, the words make unavoidably some sort of confusion if we're not really long-term Vedanta students, such as ourselves. So we need to tune and purify and refine the instruments. There is a beautiful something beautiful talked about in Katha Upanishad, wherein body is compared to the vehicle. So we have seen that. We have seen on the chariot of Krishna, Arjuna with Krishna driving as well. It's very beautiful. The driver is Krishna, as we know. In our case, the driver is our human intellect, okay? Is the intellect who is going to drive this instrument. And fundamentally, the intellect is going to tune the emotional center, or purify and refine. It's all done at the intellectual level. Because it is where consciousness shines as human intelligence or sentience, not sentience, intelligence. Because even plants are sentient, but they are not self-conscious or intelligent. So the musicians will be there half an hour before. In the case of a concert, what they are doing, they are going to be tuning their instruments. They spend half an hour to make sure that the entire, not only one instrument, but the entire band or orchestra, can be properly harmonized, integrated for the concert. Okay. Anyway, leaving that aside, what to be said here is that the music concert should be successful. The instrument must be refined and finally tuned. If the local concert requires so much fine tuning, what about our life, which is the greatest and longest concert that sometimes goes over 100 years? So it needs really great refinement, purification, and integration of the different aspects of the body-mind complex in a way that this instrument is properly equipped or prepared for self-knowledge and freedom from suffering. First, refine your instruments, integrate your personality, and what do you mean by refinement? Every organ must be health. This is strong. What is this refinement? Every organ, refinement goes to the body, mind, sense complex on all those levels. So what is the refine? Every organ must be healthy. Never ignore even your health at the body level. Never ignore your health at the mental level, on the sense organs level, okay? On the psychological level. Every aspect of the human experience must be healthy. Health. And above all, the intellect must be really purified with a lot of sattva guna at its disposal, with an ability to do good viveka along the day, and do contemplation, profound contemplation every time. It does not need to go about transacting with the Dharma field during the day. So above all parts, let's say, of the body-mind or the subtle body, the intellectual needs to be the most purified. Intellectual clarity is fundamental. It means more sattva guna. And this intellectual clarity, which depends on more sattva guna, is going to allow me to find out what I want in my life. What is the fundamental priority? I see so many people distract nowadays, Lynn. They are all over the place. There are so many misleading things in the internet. People believe that, oh, we should have a better sense organs to tap into these other dimensions, and then we're going to get a light distraction, because self-knowledge is the only means to bring about peace and happiness, and self-knowledge does not come by perceptive sensory input. No matter how nicely or beautiful, profoundly we can, hook up with these different dimensions and perceive a subtle reality, it's going to represent more extroversion, more distraction. I'm going to see if I get to know this dimension, that, and then, now I'm going to get in line. No, you're going to get more distracted, more caught up with subtle samsara, energy, spiritual materialists. Because self-knowledge is the only means to resolve the human drama, the human problem, and that is not possible by perception and inference. So if you want to have your sense organs tuned, it's tuned. It must be taken care of. It's been said that all aspects of the body-mind-sense complex must be health. But it does not mean that you lose yourself trying to even go to see infrared, not only this and that, and into other dimension. No, all distractions, all the statements of all Upanishads points to the danger of developing some extra sensorial powers. You understand? So clarity of intention, clarity of what is my fundamental desire or goal in this life. Every human every individual organ should be healthy, and not only each organ must be healthy. They should all function integrated in coordination, and then Swamiji gives a wonderful, brilliant example. He says, in this big corporation, sometimes they get the best employees, the best minds. They put them all in the positions of this huge company, huge corporation. But if they are not properly integrated, the corporation have the best minds, at the top, but they are going to fail, because the integration, the coordination, harmonization must be there. This example is beautiful. I take another example from the world of soccer. So in the world of soccer, there are some societies which are extremely rich, such as Real Madrid from Spain and some from England, and so on. They have so much money that they buy the best players in the world. But that does not guarantee them success, because sometimes they are not properly integrated or coordinated, harmonized among themselves, and then they don't succeed. Each individual may be great on its own field, but the organization may fail due to lack of integration, harmonization. Similarly, we have to maintain the health of the body-mind-sense complex, and everything must be tuned and in perfect coordination, which is called Yana Yogata Pratihi. I will call it integration. I will call it Adhikaritvam. You see, this concept of integration, when we hear for the first time from Swami Paramarthananda, we may think like, oh, it's something he's bringing up by himself. No, there are, this is a science. This is a technology. There are expressions, in Sanskrit about all these aspects in the process of preparing the body-mind-sense complex. It's called what? The Adhikaratvam. Not only, it can be called also Yana Yogata Prapitihi. So there are even more than one terms for purify, refine, and integrate all aspects of the body-mind-sense complex. I mean, I never get tired to be like, in love with the Upanishads. Therefore, Krishna's first advice begins on this verse, say, make your instrument health and qualified and disciplined. And the beauty here is when I have to refine my equipment, I don't have an external factor to do that for me. I have to do it myself. This is beautiful. Why? Because the mind is self-reflective. The mind is self-reflect, the human mind. Other minds, they don't have much of a good self-reflection, but we have it. And that's why only the human life allows for self-improvement, because the mind can reflect upon itself and say, I could be a better me, as we say. Also, no, I have to work on this and this and this and this to feel more comfortable in this body, in this mind. And this is all valid as a means to prepare the body for real spirituality, the body-mind for real spirituality. Refine your mind with the help of mind, intellect, with your very intellect. So your intellect should integrate all functions of your body-mind complex. Therefore, Atmana, you integrate Atma, Atmana, Uda, ready. You integrate your instrument with the help of the very instruments themselves. You lift yourself by itself. Don't expect God, the Guru, or the scriptures to do anything from you because they are not enough. Your effort is the most important. Never put yourself down, never weaken your instrument of knowledge because they are the only saving grace. So by unhealthy attitude, you're going to weaken your body, mind, sense complex. And if that's the case, you will not be able to grow in life. You are not going to be able to purify. We can say, but some people did accomplish that, Vivekananda, Ramana, Shankaracharya, they have accomplished. So all I'm going to do is to worship these gurus, So it's very common. People say, no, I give my life to Krishna, I give my life to Vivekananda, or so on. It's called deification. Deification. It's the first time that I saw this expression coming out of Swami Paramarthananda. Did you meet it before? No? Very interesting, huh?
He talks about the servant relationship and how that's not really appropriate for a mumukshu.
Yeah.
But I haven't heard of deification. But we do talk about those bhaktis who have that physical deity that they cling to.
Yeah. I mean,
and that could be a guru, I guess.
no?
You could put aside your own development out of love of the guru.
Of course. It's most common because in the Western society, the idea of God was rejected, more or less, And then people they transfer that bhakti to the guru, and these gurus, they are most misleading people, getting rich in the process, and so on.
Yeah.
The blinds trying to lead blind people. Blind people leading blind people. You're going to project. It's called deification. You make them extraordinary people. Oh, my professor, my guru, my G. So that you can continue to be lazy and adamant as before, because the guru is going to take care of you. Yeah. It reminds me something very interesting. At the time I met Vedanta, I had a process. In my process, I met a guru there not in California, but in Northern California, almost at Mount Shasta, to be precise. And I went to see that Sangha there. Actually, he was before in Oregon, Portland. I met him many years before, and then he's there. I'm gonna go there because something is happening here. And then after some time, I understood that it was not what I was looking for. And one time I remember going to a retreat there, and I met a guy who was with this guru for many years. Yeah, and he wanted to meet me to drink a coffee or something. I was already not interested in that, but I was passing by. And then I was talking to him about Jnana and knowledge and Vedanta and Upanishad. And then he looked at me and said, why I'm gonna care for this, What I have my guru and my love and devotion to my guru. Why I'm gonna care about doing all this mental work, It reminds me of that right now. I was like those things that you come to Vedanta and then you look down a little bit and say, oh my God, look at these people. Yeah. I am ordinary people, but I have my guru and I'm a devotee of my guru. He is going to save me. So this is called self-diffidence. Never entertain self-diffidence. Never bring down yourselves, never develop inferiority complex, never be too self-critical upon yourself, never to be pessimistic or be optimistic. So Jesus called self-confidence self-effort, which are fundamental for all kinds of accomplishments in the world of material gains, and including as well in the spiritual world of accomplishments or development. Krishna supports that further in the second line, saying this next verse. Self means, I told you, your own instrument, body, mind, sense complex. Da, 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 da. So all the gurus in the world can only indirectly contribute. Most of them are going to mislead you because they are going to put you in the wrong direction, which is the direction of experience. But there are some good gurus that is going to try to direct you into the path of identity and knowledge. It can only contribute a little bit. All the scriptures of the Upanishad can only indirect contribute. Even God can only indirect contribute. So it all depends on us, our mumukshu. So what can I do? Okay, there is a metaphor here, an example. You can do everything, but they are all Please give an example of the parents that are seeing a context in which the son is involved. You can support and this and that, but in the end, is the son is the one who has to run strongly to win, the thing. So things like that. We can encourage our children, but only them themselves can find their balance in this incredible, challenging world, in which most everyone is under the spell of total ignorance in respect to what is reality. Therefore, Krishna says, get up, my dear Arjuna, start walking. You are your true friend. You alone are your true enemy as well. You are the problem, and you are the solution, as Dayananda said. So you are your friend, you are your enemy. When you are your friend, you can make the whole world friendly to you. And when you are enemy, you will convert the whole world inimical to you. It all depends upon your attitude, your approach. Very nice. Next verse. The self is a friend of oneself for him by whom the self is mastered by the very self. But the very self would remain in enmity, like an enemy for him who has not mastered the self. So now he is resolving the mind, the intellect in the self and the self alone. The self is the Ātma that appears as human Ātma. Yeah? So he's calling everything the self, not the mind or the intellect. The self is a friend of oneself, for whom the self is mastered by the very self. So it's just words, not to make a confusion. It would be better to keep the mind is a friend of oneself, for him or whom the mind is mastered by the very self, by the very mind or the very intellect. Everything resolves itself or themselves in consciousness, as we know. So we have to be careful not to get confused, but I'm confident that confusion does not occur in our small group. Otherwise, it's so difficult to share this knowledge, to teach this knowledge, because you cannot control all the words in a way that it does not give people wrong impressions, you know? Silveta, she got me a stick so that when I mix my juice does not make noise.
She's taking care of you, even at a distance, huh?
Yeah, we are very close, only 12 kilometers away. I go every week, spend a few nights there.
Lovely.
In the previous verse, Lord Krishna said that I am my friend, I meaning my body, mind, sense complex, and I am also my enemy. So my body, mind is my enemy, or my body, mind is my best friend. So I need to, to lift up, to improve my body, mind complex, so that this instrument can work for me, not against me. So how can I myself be my very friend? So how can it do? It seems to be contradictory. So am I going to split myself in two? I take the part A to somehow improve my part B. And then once my part B is improved, and then I take my part B and then I improve my part A. So how can the mind itself improve itself? No? Because otherwise the mind is going to be either my friend or my enemy. So how can this mind can be both if the mind is one and the same? It seems to be contradictory, because friendlessness and eneminess, they are all opposite attributes. How can opposite attributes remain in one and the same object, being the mind? Okay, how can my mind be my friend? So it's very subtle, but very profound. Very, very profound. The mind can never split itself, but the mind is self-conscious, self-reflective, so that it can work upon itself. That's why we can say that self-knowledge occurs in the mind at its highest function, which is viveka. Yeah. So it happens in the intellect, it happens in the mind, and but it's not something regarding or related or in reference to anything other than the very mind, the very intellect. Is the intellect understanding its true, essential, fundamental, free nature, limitless nature. So why? Because the intellect is self-reflective, self-conscious, and it needs the help of the scriptures, unless it has had the help of the scriptures in previous births, and then it comes on this one, and then it's an easy sail, as we say in the USA. Normally, we find one who we claim as our friend and we claim as our enemy outside of ourselves. You do not say one and the same person is my friend, is my enemy. That being so, how can we say the mind is my friend and the mind is my enemy? For that, Krishna gives the answer, which is the universal law. And any instrument is both our friend and our enemy. And we know that by analyzing the so-called technologies that are growing in exponential speed or pace, that becomes even like how you say, something to fear. He's going to give you some examples of atomic energy and even electricity. He brings the example of the LPG gas cylinder in India, because in India they explode and they kill people, but at the same time, the same gas cylinder serves for what? For cooking our food. There, it's a lot of the time is weaponized by husbands who want to change wives. More, I mean, there is nothing more cruel than that, but it still happens in India. I will use kitchen logic itself. And you know why they do that in India with the explosion of the GPL, or LPG or GPL. We say GPL in the USA, I think. The gas, because nobody can prove. Everybody knows that it comes from a husband, but it can never be traced and proved because everything burns. It's the most cruel thing that I see in the dark side of India society. So going back here, anything can be used to lift humanity or to slave humanity, can be used, to free humanity or to control humanity. So it can be used to elevate ourselves spiritually, but can be used to destroy ourselves spiritually. All instruments, all technology must be under our control. I should be the master of all these technologies. Should be the master of my mind, of my body-mind, and the body-mind should not control me. I don't want to suppress my body-mind. I want to educate, and I want to be the master of this beautiful instrument. So that is my take. And I heard once that Steve Hawking said that it seems that from time to time, civilization develops so much technology that it somehow implodes and destroys itself. Why? If you grow so much with technology without growing in Dharma and growing spiritually, you're going to use all that power of technology to control everything, to be in control of all human life and just I get things the way I want to get, and that's the mentality of all these totalitarian regimes. And Brazil is rapidly become a big example. They have censored even Twitter, X and Twitter in Brazil. So things are speeding up very fast here. That's why atomic energy is a blessing and at the same time is very destructive. So likewise, the mind is our primary instrument of knowledge and experience, the instrument by which we become a dharmic person or adharmic, the instrument by which I become a happy person or unhappy, nasty person. So even any and all technologies must be used, handled properly. And what to say of the mind, which is the most fundamental instrument of knowledge and experience, the instrument that may be used in a dharmic manner or adharmic manner. So the spiritual knowledge is the most fundamental thing, and it is what declines before any civilization is getting close to the end of a cycle, as it seems to me, and as it was mentioned by Steve Hawking. If I do not close the cylinder, atomic energy, the same thing, it's said that the people who helped to create those atomic bombs, they regret later on when they saw the Hiroshima and Nagasaki exploding. The body-mind complex is a bomb, It can be used to destroy the entire planet in the hands of a dharmic, greed, dark people, At the same time, it can create hell, a heaven on earth, but the same body minds can create hell on earth. And then he talks about vasanas here. He says that if I have a body-mind that wants what it wants, and then if it does not get what it wants, it throw tranquil, and then not to deal with that, I just say, okay, I let you get away with it. Okay, I let you get away with it. And then when you see those vasanas, which is integral part of the body-mind sense complex, have enslaved you, no? You are enslaved by your vasanas and your desires and your sense organs that are running to experience and do things to feed their own binding adamic, or at least adamic in the sense that it's not helping you to grow vasanas. It becomes a habit becomes an addiction, and an addiction destroys us spiritually. Therefore, Krishna says, one's own body-mind complex is a friend when they are under one's control, and control means mastered. The body-mind sense complex must be mastered by me. I am the master, and that is the instrument. The people behind this technology should be the masters, and the technologies should be instruments under their control. Does not mean suppression of the mind. It means mastering of the mind. I don't suppress or stop them. I educate them. I like this word, educate them. I direct them. I educate them. Whereas anathema means uncontrolled body-mind complex, it's a peculiar usage. Anathema here means, okay, he's saying that here he was using the Ātma in that expression, but it was referring to the body-mind sense complex. When this Ātma, for example, some words have different meanings. Sometimes refers to the big self, and sometimes to the inferior self, because it's all the self. Okay, we say that the self is one and the same, but it appears in its inferior nature as the body-mind sense complex. He's using the same word Ātma instead of body-mind sense complex. This body-mind sense complex can be our very, very friend or enemy, as it was already said. He presents, I always have to take a look into his examples and analogies. He talks about enemies. Sometimes you have an enemy, and the enemy militants that have infiltrated in your own nation, your own country. This is the most difficult war to fight, the war against, how you say, they used to say, terrorism, and because if it is infiltrating your own country, it becomes difficult for you to fight without destroying the very country. You cannot throw certain bombs on them. And then he gives the example there at the border in Kashmir Valley. So even bombing the enemy is difficult, because there are all these neighboring counties. So we cannot use bombing. They are just all over the place, infiltrate. But when it is within our own country, it's difficult. Similarly, when the enemy is infiltrated in my very body-mind sense complex, because it is what? Ignorance. The enemy is ignorance. It's within myself. It took over, took charge of the body-mind sense complex. So how I'm going to handle this enemy within? It's not that easy. You need self-management. When it's something outside, it's easier, but here you need self-management. You, by yourself, alone, has to defeat this enemy. Very nice, huh? Very, very nice. Therefore, without self-management, you cannot manage your life. You cannot manage your life on the family level, business level, etc., and much less on the spiritual level. You need to be the master of this instrument. Otherwise, he becomes your enemy, and he is so profoundly penetrated in your very sense of self. You understand that you get confused. You cannot see it for what it is because you identify it as the enemy, and then comes a lot of other complications such as low self-esteem as well. You identify with that piece of ignorance that is destroying you spiritually or emotionally or psychologically. Therefore, when the enemy is within yourself, handling the enemy is going to be more difficult. Therefore, the real victory is self-victory. That is, all the management sciences are uniformly coming to the conclusion that without self-management, you cannot manage anything. Every company has to take care of things within before it can succeed what's outside. Without. Very nice. And then the next verse we're going to do next class, the 7, for one who has mastered himself. So how so? He has mastered the body-mind-sense complex. He has mastered the body-mind-sense complex. One who has mastered the self, the Ātma, the inferior Ātma. And this person experienced a certain tranquility or peace. When the mind, which was mastered, is more sattvic, calm and tranquil, the Ātma, the self, shines evidently. That's why we don't care to improve this body-mind-sense complex to the extent of perceiving more and more and more and more and more. No, you have to do a certain improvement. We see the instruments we have out of our disposal and be grateful that we can perceive this meteor reality to a certain extent. And that's enough to gain self-knowledge, you understand? To understand that it's not out there the solution of the human situation. It is in understanding the true nature of everything. So the supreme self is evident when the mind is sattvic and contemplative and tranquil. It was mastered, it was properly educated. And this mind develops samatvam or equanimity. This mind becomes balanced in the heat, in the cold, pleasure and pain, as well in honor and dishonor. All pair of opposites do not bring down that pose, which is a natural pose, okay, of tranquility, of peace, of viveka, understanding, gratitude. And then he brings something more to the table here, because he talks about as well as in honor and dishonor. And that goes to the fact that even great souls such as anyone, Ramana being one of them, can be subject to dishonor. And he had cases of people charging him, taking him to court for absurd things, because you can't always satisfy everybody, If, in silence, you may upset people. In words, you may upset people. This reminds me again, years ago, of an old friend of mine from the time of my first guru, was telling me things that was evidently point to the fact that he was tripping and he was going to an ego trip to believe that he was an enlightened being and so on. And I did not want to lose my friendship with him, and I did not say anything. I spoke with his wife. I say, oh, if I say something, I may be enlightened to him and say, yes, you are great, you got it, you are enlightened. If I say, no, you did not get it, you're tripping, he's going to be mad at me. I'm going to stay silent, hoping for the best. And guess what? He became very upset because I remained silent. So Ramana being silent there was still upset some people there, you know. So the wise one should be in equanimity, you know, even when it is unfairly being dishonored, you know, by the ignorant people around. So we stop here. We meet this coming Tuesday. Okay, Lynn? We're going to meet on Tuesday because Monday I can't. And we meet on Tuesday. I'm going to make a note for Felipe as well and Mark. I don't know if Mark is going to be available. But just beforehand, we meet on Tuesday. Now, namaste. Thank you. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti 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 Om. Okay, again, namaste. We meet again soon, next Tuesday. Bye now.
Thanks, Linda.
Thank you.